welcome to Demasked. This is actually the second episode that I've been on camera, and I'm joined by the host of Bizarrecade, Noah. Noah, how are you doing? Well, thank you very much for coming on. The last time I've been on camera, not only was I in a different place entirely, but a different state. I was actually back in my home state of Oregon. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I do have one question that's been eating away at me since I found your channel, and is the Max Headroom influence on purpose? Well, what gets me is I happen to like run across your channel while watching a Max Headroom documentary, like it was meant to be.
That means the algorithm's working, I think. That's great.
There you go. Well, the thing is, it was before I'd even seen what was the name again? Art Official.
Art Official. Arthur Electronic Official, for long.
Oh, so before I even saw the digitalized character, I saw like you on your set as you are currently, and I'm like, that's like something
Oh,
about that's got a Max Headroom thing going.
yeah, it's funny because I mean I've been dyeing my hair. God, I'm 40 now. I'm an old person on the internet. But I've been dyeing my hair since high school. It's because it's fun and silly. And I think there was a turnover, and this has helped with me with my content too, where I just stopped trying to be cool. Right? And like it's like, okay, I'm not cool by nature. I'm really fucking cheesy. I'm assuming I can swear here. Uh,
Oh yeah,
okay,
you're
okay.
good.
I'm really fucking cheesy. I like over the top. I'm hammy. I do a lot of like other hosting stuff, and like I don't know. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And so that's kind of how I see it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, I stopped. Yeah. What you want to be is a garish masked murderer, then absolutely go for it. No, yeah, it's the way I see it is like, all right, what's something that's going to make me laugh and smile, and the stuff I like, and like I'm a kid of the '80s, early '90s. I like that aesthetic always, and especially now with AI being such a big talking point, pro or con, whatever. It's like
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Am I the only one doing it? Am I the only one kind of throwing some homages back? Like we are. This is ripe for mining.
Well, now it's funny you brought up the murder thing because it seems everybody seems to do it despite I'm not a horror channel. That's the weird part. And like that's not even like the whole thing. It's actually a theory on psychology that I have. Is part of the reason why I wear this. It's that like people are more prone to opening up to something that looks non-human.
Oh, interesting.
So while you can still recognize this as a face, it's not my face. It's just a face you can talk at.
Right, right, right. And so, I mean, it falls in line with the way the internet works, right? Is that we got the anonymity of it all, the fact that we can, people say a lot more online than they feel they comfortable that they can in person, and so by both creating kind of not a faceless avatar, but an inhuman avatar, I see what you mean with that. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Faceless but
Yeah,
recognizable.
yeah. And it has a
And
little bit of like
like
NES Jason Voorhees to it, you know.
thank
when,
you.
when they when they made him like
Thank
when they
you.
made him like teal and purple for the Nintendo game.
I well like years ago I had this roommate that he liked to play devil's advocate, but to the point of like nausea.
Yeah.
You know, oh look, this sky, it's raining outside. Is it actually
Oh,
raining? Are you
boo.
sure?
Oh,
And it's like,
boo. It's just
right.
contrarian.
And so like right after I was living there at the time when I painted this mask, and he's like, well, why do you wear the mask? Is it because you want to be somebody else? Like, no, I like it. I think it looks nice. That's it.
No, I mean, personally, masks in general is as a concept I've always truly loved. Like, in my home, in our living room, I have a wall that is slowly filled up with masks I've purchased or been given from all over the
Mm-hmm.
world, and every culture handles masks a little bit differently. And I think
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of kind of what you're saying now, the representation of a face, the representation of a creature or a deity, or creating something human out of something inhuman, or vice versa. Because the
Mm-hmm.
face is where we hold all our character, all of our emotions. It can be Jim Carrey stretched into all sorts of ways. It can, a slight change in feature can throw people off. Like, the face is so important. I always find, you know, masks very interesting. I also come from a pro wrestling background, and so
Mm-hmm.
there's a long history of masks, of luchadors and masked wrestlers in Japan, and how those are used to an advantage or the disadvantage of having to wear them, and like the emotions those evoke. N- Kind of like the movie The Mask. And there's that whole book about in the very beginning about that Ben Stein's
We
character.
all wear
Right,
masks.
exactly. Um, I don't know enough to ever write anything remotely close to that. I'm just kind of, you know, I'm a theater kid spouting out bullshit at the top of my head, but I would absolutely read that book.
I same here. I promise that movie is not any inspiration
No,
toward
no, no. I'm sure.
this.
Yeah.
Well, well, it's funny. Only after doing this for, I mean, shoot, it's almost been what 8 years now. 2017.
Damn.
Um, I only just recently got into luchadors,
Oh,
like
okay.
El Santo, Hurricane Ramirez. I have a recreation of Hurricane Ramirez's mask,
Oh.
but my head's too big, so I have to like put it on and really like stretch it
Get it
and like
tight.
tie it off.
Yeah. The shoelace in the back is fraying a
But
little bit. Like,
but but the mystique that comes with like luchadors, it's weird to say that I want that. I want this to never come off
yeah.
if I go somewhere where it's not like if I'm going to the store, like it's going to be hard not to get kicked out of a Fred Meyer's.
Oh yeah. In this economy, absolutely. Um, but
I'm here to purchase all of your eggs.
where's the skim milk? No, I mean, I totally get that. I think, uh, I, I think there's so many corollaries between uh, success on the internet and success in pro wrestling. The biggest
Mhm.
one being that everybody needs a gimmick, right? The mask and style, that's your gimmick. The hair, the loud jackets, the sunglasses, that's my gimmick, right? Like, do I go out in this? Sometimes, and I get a lot of compliments. I'm always happy to get that. But like, I don't. There is enough chemical in my hair to kill a moose. Like, I don't do that every single day because it takes a while. And like, I still have to play with my kid who's going to like inject the fumes and causes problems, right? So it's like, yeah, I think there is an element of all the most successful content creators uh, have something that makes them stand out. If you don't have a gimmick, if you don't have something that is inherently you, then
Hmm.
no one's going to latch onto you for any particular reason.
Well, I mean, on the upside with the hair, strong wind doesn't
I
move.
mean, you'd think that, but I've had times where I'm filming out somewhere, and the time I show up, and I look like Mugatu from Zoolander. Like, it's absolute wild. Like, I don't know, the higher the hair, the harder it falls.
Well, so I've been wondering about the style of the hair, not so much the color portion
Hmm.
of it, but the styling, the sort of swirl. Where did that come from?
God, so initially, um, I did for shits and giggles. I was feeling need for a change, and I had actually normal hair for a while, um, and so I started doing something called my hair was getting long enough. I was trying to do something called Pomptober, where every day in October I was trying to pompadour my hair, and the original way I was doing it is not with the spiral, but actually
Mm.
trying to do the more of the rockabilly style swoop. Um, and
Okay.
I was doing that for so I was doing that for a bit. I did Poptober. I practiced it out. I eventually had at the end of it dyed my hair like bright red, and had it for that, and it was great. Um, it actually ended up being for a Halloween costume that was Leisure Suit Bowser. So just Bowser in like a
Oh my
full on
god.
like deep V black shirt with the yellow suit on top of it, and still had the shell and the tail. I'll have to find pictures of it somewhere. It was great. Um, these are the kind of dumb costumes that no one's gonna get out on the street, but it's like it makes me smile, so I do it. Uh, but yeah,
Did you have like a did you have like a crumpled like Game Informer with Peach on the cover like in your
oh,
back
that would have
pocket
been
or something?
good. No, I love that. Oh my god. um, so yeah, but eventually, like I was doing that, uh, and like the truth is, I was looking at it, be like, I'm looking more like a racer head, hair standing straight up than it is a pompadour. My hair
I say that
has yeah, it's all 80s here. My hair it already has this natural like cowlick curl going into it, and I kept fighting against it. And then at a
yeah.
certain point, like I think it just got messed up, and it did this naturally. And I looked at it being like, oh, that's so much cooler. And it doesn't make my forehead look nearly as big. So I just kind of started doing that more and more and getting like a curling brush for the front there. And like I ended up kind of coming to this. And again, it's a little more anime pompadour now, but I'm kind of into it. I'm still not, I'm always like futzing with it. Like it's never perfect in my eyes. So you'll probably always see it change over time slightly as I try new hair product and do different things. But like, you iterate, you try, you do it. It's become a bit of a calling card in what I do, and I'm pretty happy with it.
So, in terms of like the style that kind of dictates your channel nowadays, what came first? The look, the video types, or did it just sort of kind of parallel evolve one
Well,
after the
where we
other?
are right now with it is pretty sudden. So
Mm.
you actually, and this is, we're doing this interview now after a
Yeah.
fairly recent rebrand across the board. So
Mm.
right now, the channel is the Bizarrecade. The style is
Mm.
very CRT TV signal with black, white, and all the colors that I use. That's probably really where I started with. Was honestly taking the old TV test pattern, and I'm just using those colors, which is just what a standard CRT kind of would use: red, blue,
Okay.
green, and then when those are mixed, you're usually getting cyan, magenta, and yellow. And so I use those six
Hmm.
colors in black and white, kind of for everything, with this sort of like very bold, boxy look for kind of like a VHS tape kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the initial approach I took. Again, big fan of 80s, but not so much like the 80s. I think a lot of people think about of like the big hair Miami Vice. I like the kind of yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I into that too. But for me, I grew up I grew up a ska kid, loved ska, still do. And
Mm.
so there's elements of sort of the two-tone era that was huge in the 80s that was very much black and white checker pattern that I
Mm.
think that subconsciously and has a lot to do with that. Uh, but also just kind of looking through a lot of really old arcade games and stuff like that, and usually there are big blocks of color. It's not a lot of crazy design until you get to the mid
Mm.
to late 90s. So I kind of went with that, and then kind of found like the font case and everything from there, and kind of like extrapolated. Once I knew I kind of had this vibe I was going for, I knew to
Mm.
start kind of pulling from that. I think really everything kind of came from the name the Bizarrcade first, because before this I was doing things under the Kaiju Lounge, which was my channel for the last 3 or 4 years was called that initially. And it was very different. It was actually more interview stuff, kind of like what we're doing here, and it was
Hmm.
meant to be sort of a late night talk show approach to nerd culture. So take like late night with Seth Meyers, and combine that with all things, you know, anime, comics, games, that kind of stuff. Uh, and then recently, and I have a full video. I'll give you a bridge. I have a full video on the channel explains this, but it's like my thought. I had a couple things come up. The primary thing being spreading myself a little thin subject matter wise. People were showing up for, if I do an interview with a TTRPG designer, they're not coming back for my interview with a comic convention manager, right? Like
Mm.
you end up, I end up kind of like only getting a glimpse here and they don't come back, and a glimpse here and they don't come back. Uh, so there was that aspect, and the other part is, I'm I'm also the host of an announcer for Kaiju Big Battle, which is a pro wrestling company where people dress up in giant rubber monster suits and fight. I go by Vinny Deluxe over there, and
That's
it's
fantastic.
an amazing. And honestly, Vinny Deluxe is just this. It's just this with a microphone and a lot more attitude. Um, and it's like I've been a fan of theirs since the early 2000s. Like the fact that I get to be their announcer is amazing. However, I had the Boss Monster Kaiju handle. I had the name Kaiju Lounge for far longer than I ever was working there. But whenever I approach people about
Hmm.
doing interviews and stuff like that, everyone's like, "Oh, this is for Kaiju Big Battle." I'm like, "No, my channel, the Kaiju Lounge, is separate." And I realized that I can't be associated with this one thing and have a name be so
Yeah.
similar without people thinking they're combined. And I've never there are no legal issues in that, but I was just kind of like, I need a thing that's mine to feel like it's mine.
Mm.
So hence the shift to the Bizarrcade, hence the shift to primarily gaming and really more sort of obscure, weird games. Like I love it when people discover new games, through something I'm doing, whether it's like the monthly tournament I hold or just through my streams and stuff. People are like my TikTok and everything. People are just like, I didn't know that game existed. This looks absolutely bonkers. And I feel like, everyone writes a fucking Metroid retrospective eventually. That's all over the internet. But few people are talking
Yeah.
about Capcom Cyberbots or I don't know, the history of Hercules for the PlayStation and Sega Saturn, which is Lucas Arts game.
Oh.
Yeah, no
Yep.
one's people don't talk about those because they don't get views. And based on my viewer count, they're right, they don't get views. But uh, it's still like there's room for that out there, and I don't know, I don't want to talk about the same shit. I don't want to talk about the 18th
Hmm.
Mario game when it gets released, because everyone else is going to be talking about that, and it's a Mario game. I love Mario. It's one of my favorite series in the world. I don't need to talk about it. I don't need to play it when everyone else is going to be playing it. Like, what more is there to say? There's too much information about Mario. Mario does not need to be preserved for history. Plock needs to be preserved for history. Plock is a game most people don't remember. I see the point. Good on you. Good on you. But Plock is a game most people, a lot of people I've brought up to, never freaking heard of it. And yet it was almost considered like, it was almost published by Nintendo and pursued that way. Miyamoto said it was one of the best games he had played up until that point. Like, right, there is a level of game preservation and just knowledge preservation from what is
Hmm.
kind of recognized as a dying medium. In some ways, a lot of the older stuff is not preserved, or available to people. So I feel like it's important that games that no one actually cares about still get talked about.
Well, like there are so many strange avenues for people to rediscover
Mm-hmm.
games that have been lost to
Yep.
time, and like it's it's not a controversial stance. I think I've brought it up on the show before, but I think in terms of games that are very specifically not sold by their parent company, or the parent company no longer exists, like Midway or
Yeah.
Acclaim.
Yeah.
Uh, in my eyes, it's okay to pirate those because they are otherwise impossible to acquire.
Right.
And in that same vein, so I actually have something to show you in that same vein.
Ooh.
So I've seen very few reviews on this thing. I so I've recently started going to a local flea market,
Okay.
and I found this.
Ooh. Oh, that's like when that's not an extra Game Boy. That's a I've seen that before. It's got the back buttons and everything. Yeah, yeah.
So this is a GB300,
Mm-hmm.
and it holds over 6,000 games.
That's great.
Now, when I originally bought this thing, I got it for $20. I thought it was going to be like shovelware off-brand, you know, Mr. Mario's,
Right. Yeah.
Super Adventure or something like that. No, it's genuine Famicom all the way through. Was it the Sega Mega Drive?
Wow. Wow.
And I can't believe how well this thing works. And like, I can't believe I got it for $20 out of what looked like a converted shed.
That's wild to find it because yeah, you see a lot of those guys that are like Raspberry Pi or other microcomputer based systems like that. And they work really well. Like I would assume that probably has like a Raspberry Pi W or one of these like sort of lighter versions of it in there to be running that. It was probably somebody's little hobby project, and either loaded it up with all the games themselves or just bought directly from somebody who did that. But that's an amazing find at a flea market. Like you see people now getting these little like Retroids and other microcomputer kind of handheld gaming systems that are designed for that, for loading up with ROMs. But they're well in like the hundreds for sure. It's a different story.
Well, so I did some digging specifically on this like model, and they are mainly available through like outsourced like purchasing options like Temu and AliExpress.
Yeah.
But to find one like in hand
No.
immediately.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Again, that someone's just giving away. Chances are someone just thought it was a Game Boy that doesn't work anymore and just put it in there. But wow.
Well, that's an aspect I've yet like. I'm glad that you and I have been have connected here because there's an aspect of my, I hesitate to say skill set, I guess, hobby. Not this, but but outside of this, that I would like to start putting into videos is I actually repair electronics for a hobby.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I mainly like repairing older electronics and like weird controllers that I find and whatnot. And I haven't made a video on it, which is a crying shame. I feel like I should. And like even that same flea market, I found a Nintendo Switch controller. Are you familiar with the company 8-Bit Do?
I use for when we do the World's Greatest Gamer tournament, and I live stream that from a bar out here in the city. That's what I have our contestants use for the game. They all use the 8-Bit Do controller, specifically the latest, not the latest Pro controller, because I know they just came out with a new one. But it's a Switch. It's the Switch-based one, so I can use both my PC or the Switch just by changing the dial on the back, and I could jump into whatever game we need to for the tournament. So I love 8-Bit Do. I even got. Can you see that? Their keyboard. I don't know if you can see that, the NES keyboard, which I love.
Hi, Max Headroom here with... This is my guest. I heard you were big time in the old pop biz. Well, I'm going to take that as a no comment. So, nitty-gritty time. What I'm talking about, and you're not, is that more people prefer the new refreshing taste of Coke over Pepsi. Sweating? It's true. More people are, as we Cokeologists say, catching the wave. Catch it if you can. Catch the wave. Coke.
All right, let's roll in now. I don't know what's going on with my stuff here. Oh, you know what? When I picked up my keyboard, probably.
Oh, did you hit the hotkey or something?
I might have hit a key that made it stop.
Oh, so
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That's what, like 30 seconds a minute, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think we lost too much.
Yeah, but
okay.
But on the topic of garage sales, I've at least around here the garage sales suck. it's all furniture that is like half broken, and they're like, I know what I got, and I'll sell it for a good price. But it's
Ugh.
but it's like a lamp that's missing not the bulb, but like the section that holds the bulb.
Right, right, right.
And like there was a day when I was a kid, so I'm a big fan of the Matrix movies. I love the Matrix
Okay.
movies. I know they're silly, but I dig them. Somebody, my dad found the full. It's the you know those McFarlane toys. They're not very posable, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's the one where Neo's kicking a dude down a set of stairs, and it's the entire like staircase.
Okay.
And he got it for $5, and
Wow.
he tells me like, yeah, the lady selling it's like, yeah, this was my son's, and he moved out, and he said he was coming back for it, but I don't think so. And all I can think is like, he's gonna be fucking pissed.
Yeah, oh,
Like,
yeah. Good Lord. Good Lord.
hey mom, where's my rare set? Nope, gone.
Nope. Sorry. Sorry, son. That's, heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
Uh, I unfortunately don't have it anymore, but I still think about it to this day. I just
That's
now
tough. That's tough.
now I do have a question. Where did the digital side of your character come around? Where was that born?
Um, where was that born? Honestly, probably in the shower. It seems like it was a shower thought. Uh, yeah, art official. I think there was just like, I was thinking about it. You know what it was is during the Kaiju Lounge era of my channel,
Mm.
I actually did an interview with a fairly popular uh, VTuber, alias Sonono, and she, I talked to her about the sort of the VTubing industry and stuff. She was an Avatar farmer. It's like, oh, this is interesting,
Mm.
and I was like, and I was kind of like looking a little more into it and thinking more about it, and I was like, oh, you know what? Why are all VTubers just kawaii waifu? Like that's it. It's like just it's just a sea of them.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, and like it all feels very similar. Um, and like the idea of the sort of like animated puppet thing was fun, uh, but I was like, I don't want to come in here. I see people who are like, these mismatched voices of these very like tall, handsome anime boys or
With
these cat
overly
girls
deep voices.
with overly deep voices, or just like really, or they're going a little too heavy on the nyan,
Uh,
and it's just like it's for again, it's like I'm of a different generation. It's just kind of cringy for me.
right?
Uh, but then I was like thinking about it. I was like, but no one's doing. There's so much other stuff you can do with this. Um, and so I thought about it, and of course there's the max headroom aspect. Like that is very much where the max headroom thing is. Um, and I sort of played around with some ideas, and I knew I wanted to start doing. So I used to host bar trivia in the city, and I loved doing it. It was great. And like I knew I kind of wanted to do sort of a, and I'm still workshopping this, but sort of a gaming trivia live stream, a little bit Nick Arcade esque kind of thing I wanted to try doing. Um, but then I had the idea of like, what if it was hosted by sort of like this rogue AI, NPC, like low poly NPC, um, and it gave me permission to kind of find a version of myself that's a little bit more of a smarmy asshole, and play with that a little bit. And like I was like, I also think about things like I was a big fan of Space Ghost Coast to Coast,
Mm-hmm.
Martin Short's Jiminy Glick character. I still really like the late night talk show vibe and format. And I was like, so I started play with that, and that's kind of how it just sort of like that amalgam sort of like whittled down into this character. Um, and yeah, and I ended up going through somebody through Fiverr to have the model made. I have no 3D modeling experience. Uh, and they did a great job taking sort of the various inspiration picks and ideas. And look, the curl, the glasses. It's a little bit based on kind of myself, but more of like the Vinny Deluxe myself on Kaiju Big Battle, and less on the me. And I'll probably start moving away from this look on my stream, so I have maybe a separation for the character. I don't know. There's a lot I'm still playing around with. But yeah, it just felt like the perfect sort of thing to introduce as part of the Bizarrecade. Like, how do I make the Bizarrecade more bizarre? And so he basically takes over. You know, he pops in from time to time. He streams. Sometimes I stream. He is doing regular trivia on the Bizarrecade TikTok. I do plan on launching this, whether it be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly trivia thing that he'll host. I just want to work out the tech. I want to make sure people can type in answers and it'll tally points. And there's a lot I'm trying to figure out from that perspective. There's a lot I'm playing around with because I'm overly ambitious. Way too overly ambitious. For someone with less than 1,000 subs, I'm far too overly ambitious. No one actually cares but me. But that's fine, because if I don't care now, no one will care later. And that's kind of the mindset I take. It's very much the dress for the job you want. It's like, if I don't come in, and I've worked professionally in this field doing video for other people. If I don't come in and take that same level of professionalism I used when I was working at WWE and these other kind of media companies and put that towards myself, then what am I doing? Like, I learned all these skills. I got all this ability. I got this tech and knowledge of how to use it. I don't care if it's only like 3 people see the video. I want to make sure I'm putting out stuff that's of my level of quality that I expect of myself. And that if I'm not willing to do it for free, who's going to pay me? And there's a lot of that. So that's why I'm always kind of like a little slow for a lot of these things. Like the trivia thing is taking me a little longer than I'd like to get it up, but it's because I want it to be right, and I know when it is right, it'll be good.
Gotcha. And I was gonna say, when you do get it going with the digitized head, are you gonna put it on a CRT like sitting in the corner?
I'm toying around with the idea of how do I get a little microcomputer, maybe not a Raspberry Pi, but something similar, maybe with a little more power. How do I get that, a teleprompter, build that into a CRT mask, and be able to walk around with that face? I'm toying. That's something I'm sort of toying with, because then I'm going to conventions and I'm going to events and I can host trivia live in that kind of thing. So like, we'll see how that looks like. But I'm definitely playing around with that kind of stuff because, again, I want this to feel bizarre. There is a Pee-wee's Playhouse-esque vibe for things coming alive and being silly and weird and slightly off-putting that I'm kind of here for. And my channel's not there yet. The vibe's not there yet. But I do think that as I find that voice, and this is a big part of it, because I think I'm still trying to work out what the Bizarrecade voice is. As I find that voice, it'll start naturally coming up, and opportunities to areas of play will begin to appear.
Gotcha. Well, like, and then I think for a lot of like newer YouTubers out there, there's this element that kind of gets lost in both sort of fighting with the algorithm and then learning how to get around it. I think what's lost is the question: are you having fun?
Yes. Oh my God, the number. I was just looking at something today that was like, it was about, I forget what social platform, but they're talking about like, oh, if you're not using keywords in this way and you're typing it into the captions, then moving it off the side so that nobody sees it. Like, at that point, you're not making content. You're just trying to game the system. And the truth is like, you could do that and it'll help, but in the end, it's just kind of about making stuff people want to watch. And the cream rises to the top. In the shift I've made from the stuff I was doing at the Kaiju Lounge, where it was the interviews and I was just kind of posting clips whenever, to a more strategic approach with content made for individual platforms. I've seen YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram all kind of grow naturally, and like get more, immediately start seeing more success and more viewership across the board than I did when I was just kind of like coming in with no plan, and really trying to repurpose everything in one way. And I do believe there's something to the work smarter, not harder mentality. But I wasn't having fun. I was getting posts out just for the sake of getting posts out. Now I'm playing around a lot more. I'm experimenting a lot more, and it's paying dividends. It is a bit more work to make separate content for each platform, but it's also, I don't know, it's more fun. It's more fun, and I'm lucky to be in a position where I can take time to do that.
Yeah. So years ago, I consider it a sort of a black smudge on my channel. I tried for one video. I had an idea to test out things that are considered trends on YouTube, like like how for a minute there's 1,000 degree knife challenge, or
Oh yeah.
crushing machine challenge, or whatever the hell. And I had the thought of like, what if I just tried it and then like was as cynical as I could possibly be the entire time I'm doing it. And I did, the first one I did was a you laugh you lose challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I look back upon that video and I cringe so hard. It's still up on my channel because I think shame is an amazing motivator.
Oh yeah.
So like, I'm not gonna hide it. Like, it
No.
sucks. I know it sucks.
Now, question: did you have the mask on when you're doing that?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's part that hurts kind of the no laugh challenge because no one can see you starting to break.
But
Right?
that's it though.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
No, yeah, I see you playing around. That is funny. That is funny.
And,
But
like-
no, I think it's good to leave that stuff out there. I have stuff. I've rebranded this channel twice now, and I have all those videos up still. Even though a lot of stuff is unrelated, like loosely related. It's always been kind of in the gaming sphere and nerd sphere in some way, but like it's all. I have the stuff from the Kaiju Lounge. Before that, I took like a big 5-year hiatus because I was too busy with my day job. But I had my channel before that was Team Fun, and it was more like board games and video games like, in a group capacity. All those videos are up. All those videos are available. Some of them may still show up on my most popular videos right now. Like, because like I think it's important. I think part of what makes it work, what makes YouTube work, is authenticity. That's who you were then. That's what you were trying then. That's what you were doing then. Like, I don't think trying to scope and make a perfect you is antithetical to what people actually latch on to on YouTube. Instead, that goes into, what people kind of dislike about Instagram is all the, like, perfect posed photo, the, 2 hours to get the one photo just right.
Yep.
The tailored look at your lifestyle, like really trying to cultivate a brand. On YouTube, the stuff that performs best is the stuff that feels most authentic. And so, yeah, I think let people go on there and see the evolution. I every once in a while, especially when I do these big changes or I'm adjusting things, I like to do an update video. Again, my audience is too small for it to be worth me doing an update video. It's not for the people who are currently watching. It's, God forbid, in 2-3 years, let's say I'm at, I'm going to wishful thinking. Let's say I'm at 50,000 views and subs in 2 or 3 years. They can go back to my channel and see big swaths of change, and then find these update videos and be like, why? What happened here? And see that, and see the evolution, and see the history, and see. And I think again, going back to like the preservation talk, it's important to keep that stuff out there. It's even for ourselves. Even if we find no success in this field, to be old one day and be able to go back and see those things still is like, what we're embarrassed by now, we may have nostalgia for down the road.
Well, like, even when it comes to larger content creators, I've like, it's kind of what I wouldn't say the mission statement of this show is, but it was sort of a point that kind of grew into a larger thing. Is I want to know what content creators are like between videos, where they're not, hey guys, we're doing a giveaway. Like, what does it look like when the camera's off?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And I have like the joke I've been like making for years now is that the top of the hill of like not person I want to interview, but in terms of popularity I could interview would be like PewDiePie.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I would probably act like I don't know who the fuck he is the entire time. I'm here with what's your name?
Pia. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's, in the end, they're all just people. They're all
Yeah.
just people. I brought up the stuff I was doing at WWE. Like, I work with a lot of these pro wrestlers. Um, and like, I was a fan, and I am a fan. So going
Mm.
in, knowing I'm going to work with these people, it's like hard to try to hold back the fanboy thing. You shake everyone's hands as if you met them the first time, because you are meeting them for the first time. You talk to them as peers, because unless they're an absolute asshole, in which case they're going to find out fast, they're going to treat you like a peer that way. If you immediately come in uh, freaking out, fanboying, fangirling, whatever, then you are dropping yourself. You're putting them up on a pedestal, and you're kind of dropping yourself below them. And especially in something
Yeah.
like what you're doing here, where you're doing interviews and stuff, is that you need, if you want to get somebody to be authentic, their guard's going to be down if they feel like they're talking to an equal. And truth is,
Mm.
we're all fucking fame is just something that's made up to create status. We're all fucking equal. Like, as
Yeah.
simple as that. Maybe not, you know, politically, that's a whole different thing. But
We're
like at the
we're
very,
we're
at the,
all
yeah.
we're all idiots on a rock in space.
Yes, exactly. In the grand scheme of things, all these people, everybody has at least once shit or pissed the bed. Literally. Like, I'm everyone, like, as a baby, as a toddler, we've all done it at least once. No one gets out of that experience in some way. And so with that, uh, it's like no one's any different. They may have found their path may be more successful. They may have more money, but in the end, we're all human. We have to wipe our ass the same way.
Well, it reminds. I'm reminded of a joke from a comedian that is long since fell from grace. Dane Cook, of all people. Uh, but he made a joke that I think is a exemplary, like, mission statement, which is no matter how rich and powerful you will ever be, we're all gonna cry, we're all gonna die, and we all take painful shits.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. And never forget that. Even, I mean, God, I say even The Rock, but The Rock probably more so than most based on his diet. So, like, absolutely. Uh,
Passing kidney stones out the back end, yeah.
I'm sure that man's coming out with absolute concrete. Like, who the fuck knows? Um,
Pre-dried,
just nothing but meat and protein shakes. It's wild.
or just dust.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, no, but yeah, you have to, yeah, you have to come in and treat everyone as equal, because then otherwise they won't treat you as equal. Um, and the truth is that, like, you want to work with people who are at the same level or higher than you, so they bring you up. There's nothing wrong with working with people who are maybe getting there. Like, that also is a good idea too.
Yeah.
But you always kind of want to find the next step forward. It goes back to what I said at the top. Dress for the job you want.
Well, so I don't hold much stake in celebrity. I'm more so like the worth that I associate to a person is how much I like what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not so much from like a political standpoint. It's like, are you an asshole? If no, then are you making something I enjoy? Then they kind of get up a couple rungs on the ladder.
Yeah.
And one way I've found myself that I can, what's the term I'm looking for? Like a jab I can throw that is unexpected to somebody who probably hears the same fucking question every day. Like, so years ago, I want to say 2018, I interviewed David Howard Thornton,
Oh shit.
Art the
Okay.
Clown from, yeah.
Yeah.
And And going into it, I'm like, I don't want to be that guy like, we only talk about Terrifier, or I'm sitting there going like, I'm such a big fan. Oh my god.
Right.
And I didn't want to be that guy. And so what I've started doing specifically for somebody who I know has a following is I'll find the most obscure thing they've ever been in and then talk to them about that.
Oh yeah.
And so when I started talking, the first question I asked him wasn't, "Hey, what was it like being in Terrifier or working with Damien Leone?" I go, "Hey, so tell me about Invisimals from 2008." And to hear this guy who's usually like, "Oh yeah, we did a lot of blood effects or whatnot," to hear him go, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I mean it's good, right? Throw them off. It's disarming them in the best possible way, because yeah, they are going to get the same questions over and over again, and like every celebrity talks about how boring those things are, and in turn you get good content out of it because you in turn get a sound bite or a piece that like maybe nobody else has.
Yeah.
There's so much there, and I think I have to imagine people appreciate that.
Now, so you mentioned working in WWE, so I
Yeah.
think you'll appreciate this. I it's a small thing. I don't think I've ever brought it up, so I think this is the first time. So you know Chris Jericho, one of the more popular wrestlers of all time, he has a podcast. I interviewed David Howard Thornton before Chris Jericho got to him.
Wow, there you go. Beat old Chris to the punch.
And I'm not gonna lie, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not famous, and I probably never will be. But for that moment, I'm like, "Fuck you, Jericho."
I mean, it's one of many reasons why people have said "fuck you, Jericho." So it's
So
no,
I've heard, yeah.
but that's awesome. That's awesome. Good on you.
My hair's creeping into the inside of my mask. Oh no!
Oh no.
I just keep seeing Strange, just kind of like, yeah. Well, the problem is the hairline on at least on the mask is way too high up, so it'll all be like up and out.
Yeah. It's great.
Now, you mentioned your time in WWE, and I do have a question, and it does pertain to my personal favorite wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever meet Goldust?
I never got to meet Goldust. No, he was. I think he was gone by the time I started working there, if not shortly after. Shortly after I started. It's rare I got to work with any of the older guys. It's usually kind of like so. I was the lead producer. I was the team lead and a senior producer on Up Up Down Down, which is WWE's gaming channel, and through that, we were really dealing with like the New Day or people younger than them. It was rare.
I say Xavier Woods and.
Well, yeah, no, I had to have a really good relationship with Xavier Woods, with Kofi, all those people. Worked really closely with Ember, Athena, who's fantastic. Claudio, like a lot. That generation or younger. Anyone older, they weren't showing up on a gaming channel. I think Goldust maybe I've done something once or twice, but it would have been before my time.
This episode of Up Up Down Down, we have Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, right. Which rare occasions have happened. I've gotten to meet some legends here and there, but like for the most part, yeah, that wasn't going to be our regular people. So no, I didn't get to meet Goldust. I would have liked to as well. I think he's fantastic.
I love just bizarre characters. Like, you know how Cody Rhodes has entirely reinvented himself?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
I know for a fact that if I ever got to meet Cody Rhodes, either this show or in person, I would only refer to him as Stardust.
I think you'd see him leave fast. Yeah, last I checked, he wasn't a huge fan of being reminded about Stardust.
I would wait until we shook hands and then just like hold on, just like, how's it going, Stardust?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
or have like this, but then just have like a poster.
just in the background somewhere.
Change my wallpaper.
Jeez, yeah. The one and only time you talk to Cody.
Yeah. I
Make it
I'm
count.
nowhere.
You make it count. You make it count. That's the deal right there. Make
I,
that impression.
I've I've never been part of the wrestling space, but now I am immediately blacklisted from
Easy and easy. Yeah. It's hard to get blacklisted. You gotta do some real awful stuff to get blacklisted in wrestling.
I oh now. So speaking of wrestling,
Yeah.
what would be what? So if you could throw a WWE superstar, either current or classic, who would you have on your show just to chat with?
Oh God. Um, Current or classic? Who would I put on? That's. I mean, the truth is, I'm going to exclude the talent I consider myself friendly with, or became friendly with, because I feel like that's too
Too easy.
and that's too easy. That's too easy. The easy
I
answer
could get
would
them
be,
on anytime.
I don't want to say that. There's a reason why I have. I mean, I'll be honest. Like theoretically, I can call people up, but I haven't because I want to make sure that when I do, I'm making the most of the opportunity and not wasting their or my time. I take
Yeah.
it seriously because they are. I'm friendly with them. I have great relationships with a lot of them, but I also know that like everyone is asking everything of these superstars. If I'm going to ask and if I'm going to call in a favor, I want to make sure I'm doing it correctly. Because
Gotcha.
I respect the relationship that I built with some of these people.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to exclude that and just talk about people who uh, someone who I don't have I haven't gotten to meet or work closely with.
Gotcha.
And the truth is, it would probably be Sami Zayn, who I never actually got to meet the entire time I was there, but he is probably one of my favorite professional wrestlers of all time. Uh, I've always been a fan. I was a fan of his best friend El Generico on the Independents. Um, I am. I think his work's great. I think his energy is a little frantic, which I think would be fun. I don't think he'd have a lot to offer in the world of gaming. I feel like the few things he's done about gaming, he's been one of those guys like I don't play games, not in like a negative way, just in a like not his thing. So I don't think that would be good for the channel in any way. But that would just be like a personal get for me. I think I would enjoy that. Next up would probably honestly be I'd love to talk to any Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, or Bret Hart.
There
Not
you
because
go.
I'm huge fans. I mean, I like the older guys, but like truthfully, I'm more a fan of the new generation now. I solely want to talk to them about their experiences doing video capture for WrestleMania, the video game. Because
Yeah,
WrestleMania, the
yeah.
video game, one of the few games that actually use that same sort of Mortal Kombat style thing, and there is footage online out there of them recording their moves for the game. I definitely like no one's really talked to the wrestlers about that. I know those three were in the game and still with us, so I would love to get them on just to talk about the experience of making that game. However little they probably remember now.
I it my immediate thought that I jumped to like, who would I have on? I think it's a wrestler that okay, I'm willing to bet he's a really nice person, like in person, off camera. But so there's a moment where I went back and started watching like 2017, 2018, Monday Night Raw,
Yeah.
SmackDown, and I got so sick of Seth Rollins. And I had the thought of like, I want him on, and I know my first question would be like, hey, what was it like, going up against, whomever? It was like, why won't you shut the fuck up?
Yeah. I mean, look,
But
like if that's what he's doing, then he's doing a damn good job, right? Like the job of a heel is to get you to hate them. And Seth, especially when he's in like smarmy heel mode is fantastic at what he does. Um, yeah, I understand that. I definitely had my moments with. I definitely have had talent. I'm not going to name names. I've had talent where like I hated it on camera, and then I got to meet them and like, oh, this is. I've turned around completely on you. I only hated you because you were doing so good at making me hate you. Um, and you know, there's someone who like gets the industry who now kind of performs partially, even though it's a much goofier format now. Like who performs occasionally within pro wrestling. Uh, it's just it's fun. It's funny that I can still sometimes get the wool pulled over my eyes. I can still fall for kayfabe now and then, and that's how you know someone's doing a good job. Because in this day and age, kayfabe's not dead. It just kind of smells funny.
Well, like how was it? John Cena recently turned heel, and people are like, I don't believe it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
He's too nice.
I think he's doing great. He's doing great in the role now. It's the exact role he needs to be playing. I'm curious to see how it plays out at WrestleMania. But like, yeah, I think they spent so long about turning him heel. Now they finally done it. It's not only been a fantastic move, but the way he's done it by not changing anything, by very aggressively staying the same John Cena, saying, I'm not giving you a new t-shirt, I'm not giving you a new look, I'm not giving you a new style because you guys don't deserve it. Like, I don't think they could have pulled this off had they just refused to do it during his heyday, his entire time there. And I think it's paying off now.
Now, what if they pulled like the John Cena equivalent of like Hollywood Hogan, with just all black
Oh
costume,
God, yeah. I think
stubble?
yeah. God, I don't know. Cena with hair already. Whenever he's got like his medium to long hair, that already looks weird enough as is. I couldn't see him with
Right.
stubble. Keep that Frankenstein chin shaved. You know, guy's got a square jawline. We don't want to lose it.
Things like a cinder block with a bud on the front.
Yes, absolutely. You could go. He could cut glass with that chin.
Well, the thing is, like his transition to movies has been phenomenal.
Yeah,
Like Peacemaker, that like for
great show.
all the other serious roles or even comedic roles he's done lately, it feels like the man was built to play Peacemaker.
I mean, it's wild. It's not a character I think would have gotten so much love and attention if not had John Cena played him, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that just from a star power, right? Like The Rock decides he wants to play. Oh,
Black Adam.
he already plays, yeah, Black Adam. Never mind. But like, I don't know. The Rock could pick some like, Z tier villain like Gizmo from the Teen Titans, and they would make it, and they would make that a TV show because it's The Rock. They would make Gizmo one
Yeah.
character because it's The Rock. But I think John Cena actually played Peacemaker and did such a good job in that role that's why they gave him the TV show, not because it's John Cena. And I think that's really cool to see. I would argue the same thing with like what Dave Bautista does, right? Dave
Oh
Bautista,
yeah.
his wrestling fame has been good, but I don't think it's done nearly as many favors as one would think. And I'm not sure, I think Guardians of the Galaxy did so well because of the job that like Dave Bautista did as Drax, not because Dave Bautista is in it, right? And so I think there's a stark difference versus The Rock, who at this point just shows up, is The Rock in everything he does, and you can
Yep.
give him a sitcom that goes on 3 seasons too long. So
I Well, it's funny because like the character of Peacemaker from the comics to the new Suicide Squad movie is a massive flip in terms of tone, because that character wasn't was very serious in the comics, but now it's rippled backwards into the comics. So now every time Peacemaker shows up, there's like a twinge of that John Cena in there.
yeah, because it's making money and people are really into it. I think that always happens a little bit when someone gets like Harley Quinn not being a character until the animated series, and then bringing her into the comics afterwards.
Yeah.
I think really that happened with a lot of the Marvel characters, because I feel like there wasn't as much. Iron Man wasn't that huge until the movie came out. I mean, it was a long-standing Marvel character, but I don't think people cared about Iron Man the same way until the movie came out.
Well, well, so that's the thing. So I'm a big, I'm sorry for I love comics. I fucking love comics. Uh, Iron Man in the movies, like the Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark is the best version of Tony Stark, not in writing, but in personality. He's the nicest version of Tony Stark.
That's also probably very fair. Yeah. Yeah,
It,
but that's the thing is,
and
like,
the
the actors have given all these characters that otherwise I couldn't tell you what Steve Rogers or, Daredevil's personality was. It always kind of changed with the vibe of the person writing it. But now, now that we've seen these amazing portrayals, I think most of the casting for Marvel for the leads have all been pretty good. Uh, you know, now there's like a vibe to all of them that you can kind of touch on and has a bit of a personality to it. And I think now that has sort of set the tone, and it's done a very good job setting the tone. I think the problem with a lot of the DC movies is that they've done Superman as kind of a blank piece of paper. Uh, and like I don't know, I've always been more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy anyway, so that's kind of like I'm a
yeah.
little biased from the top. But I feel like DC DC keeps their costumes. They've always had the same. All the characters have had more or less the same costumes. They're very bright, four-color style,
Yep.
classic-looking costumes. But they keep making these serious fucking movies. These
Uh
dark
huh.
tone, like angry, brooding kind of films, and everyone looks so silly. It's like I don't know, like the DC when it just leans into the superhero comic book nature, I think is at its best. And I think for some reason, and hopefully this changes with James Gunn doing his thing, but like I feel like for the longest time it's been failing because Marvel recognizes what it is. It's a comic book movie. DC is just trying to do dark, gritty, angry, stoic, and it's all fallen flat.
Well, like not even in the more recent ones. Well, granted, there's been an uptick in
Mm.
like being more bright, colorful, like actual comic books, not But so I remember there was an interview that was during, I believe it was at San Diego Comic Con for Batman versus Superman, and Zack Snyder, with a completely straight face, goes, "We're doing something completely new, never seen before." And I go watch the movie in an empty theater, of course,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, these are two of the most popular, like Batman and Superman stories stapled together. And the worst part is, in like the greater continuity, they take place 20 years apart.
Jesus. Yeah. 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 I think it is to comic book movies what uh, the original Super Mario Bros. Movie from the '90s is to video game movies. In that, like, they're taking
You mean a
all,
perfect masterpiece?
sir. Um, you're taking all the wrong things. You're taking all the wrong things. You're like, for the sake of like trying to be creative,
Uh
you're
huh.
kind of missing the point of why people want to see these films. Uh, yeah, Zack Snyder can go fuck himself anyway.
Well, well, the thing is, there's this thing that Zack Snyder does as a director that is the most infuriating thing I've seen out of any,
Is it
like,
direct?
sir. Well, that too. But he does this thing where he'll take a moment, make something incredibly fascinating, like this little moment, and then do absolutely nothing with it.
Mm, yeah, I see that.
It's like say what you will about like the Ezra Miller Flash, but in Justice League, just in Justice League, the way that the super speed is shown is phenomenal. But
Mm,
then it's like, well, how do you depower the Flash? Well, you make him trip over his own feet every 30 seconds.
right, right.
It's just,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I think they've a lot of the DC characters are so good at their powers that
mm,
sometimes I think it takes a real creative, it takes a really, really smart creative person to write how to beat them or how
yeah.
to make them vulnerable. It's very easy to say, oh, Superman's boring because he has no vulnerabilities. Like, that's not true. There are ways to
Yeah.
make Superman interesting. It's just there aren't a lot of people who are capable of doing it. And we're still kind of putting the power into people who aren't capable of that. Again, I'm feeling positive for James Gunn. I think I like the guy's work. I like his tone in a lot of what he does. I think in even interviews he's done, he's kind of talked about just that. Is like, how do you make a guy like Superman vulnerable, connect with the audience with him? And I think it sounds like he's on the right track. Let's see where they actually go, especially as we've kind of lost. We're starting to get over a little bit tired of the everything's connected formula that has been guiding these movies.
Well, like, if James Gunn can make a Z-list villain like Polka Dot Man, one of the most beloved characters out of the Suicide Squad movie, if he can do that, I have high hopes for anything else he does. And what drives me nuts is I hesitate to say the gall of it all, but it's not that. It's the willing ignorance of putting the blinders on, of looking at a comic book movie and then not looking at the comic books and then getting mad that it's close to the comic books without ever looking over there.
Yeah.
Like with the new Superman trailers and whatnot, it's like, well, Guy Gardner's hair looks stupid. I'm like, it looks stupid in the comics too. It's right there.
It should look stupid. I can't wait. I love that depiction already. It's fantastic. It's so spot on. It's great. Nathan Fillion has it. Beautiful.
He's walked right off the page, but what?
Yeah. People are going to be people. Like, that's like everyone's going to complain about something. You can't protect yourself from that. You gotta like what you like and enjoy what you enjoy, and let the rest of the world fall where it may.
Yeah, I just like the way I look at it isn't like. I feel like the expectation has been real strange ever since like Infinity War and Endgame came out.
Yeah.
Where like it feels like everybody else is expecting every movie that comes after it to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And while I understand that expectation, and I get where some may falter because it's smaller stories and whatnot, but I look at those movies the same way that I read comic books, which is, I'm just happy these characters are here.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'm glad it's happening. That's why I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. I think there are a handful of movies that have gotten less love because they're being graded on a different scale, so to speak. I think The Marvels was a fantastic film, as well as the Miss Marvel TV show. I think both those did get a lot of love because people were, maybe expecting something they were expecting kind of the same sort of epic side of the storytelling. And I think they were maybe not the best Marvel films, but they were still really good films. I think there's a lot of that. I think to your point, I think the Avengers Endgame, that's the problem was they had to keep telling stories after that. Like, how do you up the stakes? How do you Dragon Ball Z this series? Because once you've destroyed the ultimate entity who has destroyed half the world, who's left now? You killed off your lead. You kind of have to now go backwards a bit. And the problem is, maybe that works in comic books when you're doing individual comics and back to a big thing. But I don't think it works for movies because every movie has to be standalone spectacular. And to now be in a position where these movies in the series are less than this one movie because you've made it such a big deal, they've written themselves into a corner. Honestly, I like some recent Marvel stuff. I think I enjoy it. I think some of the TV shows have been better than some of the movies. But I think they're now slaves to their own ideals, and I think they could stand to just start telling standalone stories, maybe end that universe and start a new one. There's so many things you could do if they want to keep this going. But then also they're making a shit ton of money, so good or bad, it's still working the way it's intended.
Well, However, I think it's more. The bigger problem is that they keep trying to sort of up themselves, not up
Yeah.
themselves, but kind of keep that intensity. But the problem is that becomes every movie is an apocalypse scenario, and I. The thing is, I think at least that little first step right after Endgame with the Hawkeye series
Mm-hmm.
was the perfect place to go.
Yeah.
It's somebody who does not have powers and dealing with the side effects of everything he just went through. Like
Yeah.
that's
100%.
like, and you even see like was it Yelena who went missing for 5 years and then came
Mm-hmm.
back in somebody else's house. Like
Yeah. I
like
love that the event was so big that we're still seeing repercussions of that in
yeah.
series now. Like, that's good, and that should. It would be bad if it didn't feel that way. Uh, but I am annoyed with, like, only up until recently did we see the ramifications of Eternals pop up. That
Yep.
fucking giant hand was sticking out of the Arctic Ocean for, like, 4 years before another movie addressed it. Like, it's again, and I get the timeline's all different, but, like,
Yeah.
don't make us do the fucking homework. Like, keep things chronologically or explain, I don't know, tie it in somehow. But like, it's a lot. It's a lot. They're doing a lot of work here, and I get the idea is to mimic the comics and how
Yeah.
comic books work. Um, but I think that they need to do something to re-pick up steam because it is slowing down a bit.
Well, the thing that I feel like should kind of come back around is acknowledging the larger events, but in a realistic fashion.
Yeah.
The original version of the Daredevil Netflix series did that with the Chitauri invasion of New York,
Yes. Yes.
where they didn't refer to it as that; they referred to it as the incident.
Right. Right. But I think that was also because they weren't legally allowed to name it.
Oh no, like there's a scene where it I think is a perfect encapsulation where it's like, well, the rent prices on this office went down ever since the incident, and I think it was Foggy's like, that's what we're calling it now, and the realtor goes, I'm sorry, did you want me to say that aliens came down from the sky?
Right. Right. Right.
And he just goes, fair enough, yeah.
Fucking wild. I need to rewatch it. I've been watching the Disney Daredevil, which I'm really enjoying, and made me
I
want to rewatch the old one.
as I haven't caught up, la 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 la.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I also I haven't caught up on. I'm ashamed to admit I haven't caught up on X-Men '97 either.
Oh, so good. That's a good one. I
I
was impressed by that.
I was I was unintentionally spoiled because my partner thought it was a fan animation.
Oh,
But like, look at this really cool like fight with Gambit. If
right,
you
right. But no,
certain certain
yeah.
and I go, hey hon, that's that new show that came out. I haven't seen it yet. Please.
Please don't show me again.
Yeah. Like if I
Oh,
watch it again, I'm gonna memorize it, and then it's gonna get stuck with me.
look, there's still plenty to discover in the show. You should absolutely check it out.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be doing that tonight because
There
I
you go.
start. Well, now I gotta finish Born Again. I have to.
Yeah.
Or is it over? Or is there still episodes coming out?
God, I actually don't know. I know I'm behind, so I need to catch up. I think it's over. I think they did it. They might have done it all at once. Maybe not.
Well, I know they're doing like a
Oh, they're doing
weekly
it. Then they may still have some left. They may still have some left because it wasn't that long ago.
because I know they mentioned it was gonna like be miniseries, but I'm not sure what
How
quantifies
how
mini
many?
nowadays.
Yeah. I'm only like 3 episodes in, so like I think there's still plenty more to watch.
See, Noah, this is why I love doing this show. So you know the term "keeping one hand on the wheel."
Yep.
I don't believe in that. Because we started talking about your channel, then we got to WWE, and somehow we're on Marvel.
Yeah. No. We definitely been going all over the place. I love it.
we, or what's the term? It's the visualization I have for like the track, like keep it on track. It's a car flying off of a cliff.
Oh, God, I have to read. I have to. I enjoy to my kid reading Green Eggs and Ham, and I always think about the train that's going right into the water halfway through that story. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way natural conversations happen. You never stay on topic. It just evolves. It keeps growing.
Well, like I had a moment of clarity. I'm like, shit, we have gone to places, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like we are out there now.
We're exploring the nether realm.
There you go. Opening the door and jumping through.
Exactly.
Or was it the end of Men in Black, just opening the door? How long have we been? Oh my god.
How long are we going?
By
wow.
my measure, it's been an hour 17.
Damn. All right.
Holy crap. You know what? Do you want to call it here?
I think so, because I have to get back to some stuff before I pick up my kids. So
Understood. So, let's do the outro. So, Noah, I do have one last question for you before we do get out of here.
lay it on me.
And that is, if asked, would you be open to coming back as a return guest?
Oh yes, absolutely. We got more Marvel and wrestling
Right.
and stuff to talk about.
Right? And I was gonna
Yeah.
say, if you ever want to like shoot the breeze about like, I know we got way off topic, but if you ever want to shoot the breeze about like retro games or controller repair or anything like that, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the grenade on my desk the entire time.
I'll be honest, did not see it till you just pointed it out. I mean, it's nowhere near me, so I feel bad about that. No. I can't be privy to that. If you do that, this interview will never come out. No, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I think we went in all sorts of different directions and stuff there, but there's still. I mean, obviously, my bread and butter is in the world of video games and retro games and indie games and all the weird shit. So now I'll absolutely come back on the show and talk more about that. I'd love to.
Fantastic. And before we get out of here, I do got to ask, is there a video on your channel that you are particularly proud of that you'd like to see in the description of this year video?
Yes, I would honestly, I think as of, well, I guess there's two. You could take your pick. I think because as of speaking, I think my latest video that I posted up around April Fools about a look back at Lame Pro, which was the the yearly April Fool's tradition of GamePro magazine, where they put a fake magazine inside the real one that was all full of jokes and stuff. I think I really enjoyed making that because it was definitely going back to like an old memory of mine for sure. I think it's a great piece of sort of the kind of stuff I like to cover.
Now, I had a question regarding that I completely forgot to ask.
Yeah.
And it's pissed.
Yes.
So I know it's a dumb question, but I need clarification. Is that a real game?
Yes. So the Pissed in Lame Pro is not a real game. The Pissed that was then released that same year featuring John Goodman is in fact a real game. I remember seeing that as a kid in like a Tower Records in the computer game section, and it is a parody game of Myst, and it is I've never played it. From what I understand, it is very sort of silly and childish, and very like pee-pee caca humor, but it does in fact exist.
So you mentioned putting the call out there for somebody to find you a copy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make that my personal mission to find that.
Find that oh, please. I don't know how I play it. I'm not sure what system I have, but like, I'm sure I could pirate it. I don't think the makers of Pissed are going to be upset that I'm not spending money. But
the question is, does it have to be a physical copy or can it be a file?
A file's fine, please. File is fine, absolutely.
So then I have a chance.
Yeah, if you find it, we'll do a live stream of Pissed.
Play
through it and see what happens before a DMCA takedown.
Before you violate community guidelines.
Right. So there's the video I did on Lame Pro. I think it's a really good video. I'm really proud of that. The other one I would say is the most recent. I can send the link to you. The most recent live stream we did for the World's Greatest Gamer Tournament, which is the monthly tournament I live stream from OS New York City. where every round is a different game decided by the wheel of gaming. We spin the wheel, whatever it lands on, that's what the people have to play. It could be an old school game, new school, racing, puzzle game, fighting game. Does not matter. It's whatever it is, that's what they have to play. It is a tournament. We do in the evening. We've been getting a great turnout. I think I've had some trouble getting that stream working, but this last one we did was smooth, easy to watch. Everything came out good, and is the only one with the new branding. So that would be another one. I think give it a taste of really what I'm all about, the kind of games that we throw on here and discuss, and really I think more of what this channel is going to be, which is this sort of like live event gaming as a culture and game show, and less as just for the sake of gaming. Because that's it, and just living in the bizarre.
Fantastic. And Noah, thank you so much for coming on. This has been an absolute blast.
Oh, my pleasure. I had a great time. We fully lost track of time, which is always a good sign. So absolutely would happily do this again. This is great.
Well, what's been getting me is, so the entire time I have 3 monitors. I got 2 here and then 1 up here, and your camera's full screen on my other monitor here. And in my brain, it's like, oh, I have a video playing, and I'm like, oh no, that's just him. That's just, oh no, my camera.
This is the same setup. This is what I use for chatting, for my videos, for live streams. It's I have a New York apartment. It's all small and make everything work here. And so this
cost $50 million bucks.
You'll see, yeah. You'll see this setup, this same exact look if you come over to the channel. I'm a hard man to miss. I stand out in a crowd.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, thank you again, Noah, for coming on. There will be links to not only your channel, but the videos we mentioned before. I'm going to see if I can't get you that game in the interim.
Let's do it. I'm all for it. Love it. Let's get pissed. Let's get pissed, baby.
But with that, party people at home, thank you for sticking to the end. Please check out Noah's channel, the Bizarrcade. This has been absolutely phenomenal. But with that, we'll bring this to a close. My name is Fresman. This has been Demasked, and I will see absolutely all of you next time. Oh my goodness.